Hey, this is Marcus Washington with the latest episode of Three to Make Two. Um, with the playoffs going, this is going to be very impromptu at times, just because we want to get information out, and the days just flip so quick and things happen so fast. But obviously, I want to start with some of my takeaways from yesterday, and really, we're going to start with the latest game, which was Lakers T-Wolves. And JJ Redick is going to find out, coaches are made during the playoffs, and it is an adjustment time of year for the NBA. So people like to say about the NBA, oh, it's just players, 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 players. When you get to the playoffs, oh, buddy, a lot of this is coaches. It is making this little subtle adjustment, this sort of bigger adjustment, all these adjustments in game, between games, everything else. It's really where the coaches make their money. So JJ Redick, who I still think is going to be a very, very successful coach in the NBA, this is just going to be his first go around against a team that, mind you, was in the Western Conference Finals last season, who has very good complementary pieces around Anthony Edwards, and finally some sort of cohesion with Edwards and Julius Randle. So make the adjustment. Also, what jumped out at me yesterday with Detroit Pistons, man. The Pistons for the first three quarters had looked like the way they had dominated the Knicks throughout the season when they've won 3 out of 4. And then the playoffs kicked in. The Knicks go on a 21-0 run. Cade Cunningham's body language was not good. Hey, buddy, it's the playoffs. Not going to get the same calls as you do during the regular season. And all players, very, very good players. That first time around in the playoffs where the whistle changes, it's an adjustment. And I think Cade Cunningham will be fine. He'll make the adjustment. But you could see yesterday some of the bumping and the grinding and him looking for calls. He wasn't going to get it. And we saw it last year with SGA. So again, that's not a criticism. It's just going to be an adjustment for him. Also, going back to the Clippers game, the Clippers were rue, losing game 1 on the road that they should have absolutely positively stolen from Denver. For most of the game, they were the better team. And to lose the way they did, because you know why they lost? They lost because down the stretch, Denver made the 50-50 plays. They made the 50-50 rebounds. They're the ones that got multiple possessions within a single possession. All the little grimy, gritty things that people don't think that happen in the NBA, which happens in the NBA every night, by the way, they did, and Houston did not. And I said Houston. They did, and the Clippers did not, and it cost them a very winnable game. If they lose this series, they're going to look back to game 1 and they're going to really kick themselves in the tuchus for losing that game. So a couple of non-playoff things. If you're a non-playoff team right now, I know there's people going to focus on the draft and free agency. I'm really focusing on coaching. Teams like Sacramento, which is now a complete and utter disaster, and they have to decide whether they're going to keep Doug Christie or not. They have just ruined that organization, and now there's talk about trading Sabonis, which leads me to the New Orleans Pelicans and the disaster that they have down there, in the sense of David Griffin never cashed in for all the screaming and yelling about assets and draft picks and everything else. He never cashed in on the Anthony Davis trade. They are still essentially the same team stuck in neutral. And now there is talks, I don't know how credible they are, there are talks of whether when Joe Dumars really takes over, do you trade Zion Williamson and so on and so forth. So, yes, we are all concentrating on the playoffs. But those fringe teams, those play-in teams, those teams stuck in a place, even below neutral, the Atlanta Hawks, the Chicago Bulls, teams that you can say technically are playoff teams, even though they're more like play-in teams. Probably want to keep an eye on those guys too. Well, thank you for joining me for this episode of 3 to Make 2. This is Marcus Washington on the MTC Media Digital Network.